Right, there we are. We're live. Hey, everybody. Hope you are enjoying us. Right now, we don't have any viewers, so when they go back and watch this, they'll see it from right here. So you can say things to people who aren't there now. Is that kind of like talking to yourself? All right. Well, Mitch, I'm ready if everybody else is ready.
All right, let me start this one recorder. Oh, so
Yeah.
you might get a little echo. Give me a test.
Testing 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
Um, Give me a test again.
Test again 1 2 3. Again. Test again 1 2 3.
I'm, I'm always lower than anybody else. So
Got it.
uh, one more time.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh, Timmy's in the chat room. I mean, Timmy,
Timmy.
like Jackie.
Give me a test again. That's for the other machine.
Oh,
Give me,
okay. Test 1 2 3. Testing. Testing 1 2 3.
how about you, Tim?
Check, testing. Hey, baby. It's me.
My
One,
my
three.
turn. All right. How about a check? Check. Checks in the mail. Check. 1, 2, 3. All right.
We good?
Very good.
Tim, you sound good, by the way. Everybody sounds good.
Thanks.
I hope you don't hear my dog.
I don't hear anything.
I hope you don't hear my kids. They're upstairs playing Wii. They're just jumping all over the place.
Nope, I
Me?
hear nothing. Hope you don't hear the ice cream truck. Oh, probably not. It's only 60 degrees outside. Who knows? Ice cream truck can come around all the time. Who knows? Crazy. Mitch is starting Windows 10.
Oh, I can talk about it during the show, so
Oh, excellent.
worth talking about.
That there is an intro.
Hold on for a minute. You count down when you want to start.
Okay, sure. I'm ready.
Mhm.
In 3 2 1, record. Hey everybody, welcome to Geeksters episode 135. This is a show where we talk about all things geeky. If it has a computer in it, at some point we're going to talk about it. Everything from Windows to Linux to Mac, Android, iPhone, Raspberry Pi, Banana Pi, Key Lime Pie, Blueberry Pie. No, sorry, enough pies. Enough of those pies. I'm Martin Obando. I'm one of the hosts. We got Tim and Mitch with us today. Hey guys, how's it going?
Good here.
Good, buddy. Today is my wedding anniversary.
What are you doing on the show then?
I, I don't even know where she is.
That's dedication. Ladies and
Well,
gentlemen, Tim is here on his anniversary.
she's not here. It's just
Oh.
me and the kids. So I think that's why it's lasted so long.
What if she's getting you a present and expecting you to be there when
No, no, I'm sure that that's not the case.
she's going to bring home just a platter of bacon and steak and be like, honey, happy 20-something-ish anniversary?
19?
19?
19? Yeah, I've got 2 more years before I can move this thing out of the house. So,
What's this thing?
the marriage.
Oh,
It'll be legal in a couple of years. I can move it out and lock the door.
got it. I'm going on 18 next month, less than a month.
Sweet. So, yeah.
I just hit 30 last month.
Ah,
Jeez. So
Mitch,
this is what old Mary's guys do, just hang on their basement, talk to each other, or in some.
I'm not in my basement. I'm still upper class. I'm upstairs.
Oh,
Sorry.
you have to rub that in.
I got.
You have to keep rubbing that in.
I haven't been kicked down yet, but see, I'm not at 19 either, so maybe that's coming up.
You're not a what? Oh,
I'm not at 19.
do you have a basement?
No.
Well, I guess that presents a problem.
A slab.
Yep. Well, I do. I mean, I guess I have a foundation.
Mhm.
Just go under the house, but it's kind of creepy and dark down there. And I'm a big guy. I don't fit underneath there very well.
Yeah, if you get banished to the crawl space, that's a bad deal.
Yeah, it is. It is. But before we get going, I do want to remind our listeners to go ahead and like us on iTunes. I guess you can go to iTunes. You can click like. You can tell us what you like about us, what you don't like about us. But I would recommend, that if you do like something about it, even if you don't like something about us, kind of lie and just tell us you like us. But go there, click like. I want to see if we can get our likes a little higher. But so how you guys been? I mean, well, you got anniversaries and stuff.
Well, I had another flood.
Oh, Mitch.
Well, we were getting ready to.
Like I tell the kids when they leave, you got to turn off the lights, Mitch. Turn off the water. You can't just leave it on while you're brushing your teeth and then walk away.
Hold on for a minute.
He's like, hold on. That reminds me. I gotta go turn off the. Mitch needs those.
All right.
Mitch needs those faucets like they have in airports, where you just push them and you get like 7 seconds of water, and then that's it.
Normally, you would not turn the water lead to the toilet off, because you would be doing that on and off 100 times a day.
Right.
Right.
Well, if you have Crohn's disease. But anyway, we were getting ready to leave the house Saturday, right? We were going to go to Fort McHenry. Haven't been there in years. And
What is that? Like historical?
yeah, where say, can you see the Star Spangled Banner was written?
Oh, Fort Henry.
Fort McHenry.
Oh.
And we battled the Britons, the War of 1812 and all that. Anyway, so we're getting ready to leave the house. We go out the front door, and we got the GPS, but my wife had the beanbag base mount in her car, so I opened the garage door, and then she has her car in there, and I see there's water all in the garage. I mean, all on the floor. And I'm thinking, I look under her car, and I can see it's coming from the utility room. And we just had a water heater put in like 3 weeks ago, and I'm thinking it's that, but I go in here, I hear water running, go in the bathroom, just that supply going underneath the toilet tank. It was just cracked. It was just splashed on. I turned it off. But everything was wet. It came right up to. It's all right up to here, to my right, where the door is to the utility room, and it stopped here. Thank goodness. I got my dry vac. I vacuumed some stuff up, and we called the insurance company. Sent the same restoration company out here. So long story short, I mean, nothing's major. Nothing got ruined. We had industrial carpet in there that we had before, which was replaced with the previous flood. And so there's no padding or anything, and so all they do is put the dehumidifiers and dryers out. But they took the baseboard heat off, baseboard molding off.
Sure.
And so that has to be replaced, and the tool has to be fixed. But my thing is, now the insurance company, they said something, maybe putting it on the old claim, but if not, they're going to put it on a separate claim. And that's not good, having two insurance claims within 2 months or 3 months. So I'm kind of scared.
Can it be traced back to the work that was done?
That's what I'm saying. They replaced the carpet in there before. They said they moved the toilet out and they put it back.
Oh, well, okay. The toilet's been out then. So,
I know,
say it again. It was the supply line leading from the wall to the tank. Is that right?
Exactly. And they normally, its house is 20 years old. Normally when they get brittle. I'm getting and I'm getting this from.
Should have been replaced. That should have been a new. That should have been a new hose on there.
But yeah, right. And that's my opinion, because even though it didn't leak right away, but it wasn't leaking before that, and
Did the hose split? There's a split in the hose. Where did it break from? Where was it leaking from?
Right there where it screws on underneath the toilet.
Oh, I see.
So on the toilet itself, or the hose part, like on the.
It's a plastic coupling, and it get brittle. It's been 20 years old. You should know automatically to replace, but you got to replace that whole piece, that whole pipe.
Right.
I mean, really, if you're gonna pull the whole toilet out and you're gonna put it back in, I mean, what are those pieces? You're $3.
I don't know what it is.
I mean,
I don't know, maybe a little more, but it's just I'm just thankful that I went in the garage when I did, because if we would have been going all day, it would have gotten here and had to go through all this in here again. I think the first flood, it was like almost $6,000 worth of damage that they did. They cleaned up and fixed, and I don't know.
I guess it depends on where it cracked at, because the valve inside the tank, it actually extends out the bottom of the tank, and that's what that.
It's on the bottom where it screws on. That's where.
Right, but that's not to say that it wasn't damaged.
True.
Yeah.
when they took that hose loose. But you know, you hate to see something that's so similar, you know, in the same vein happen immediately after it, and then you get hammered again. You would think maybe they could just kind of lump that in.
My wife, Margaret, was crying so much. I want to sell the house. I want to sell. I mean, well, which we're planning to do anyway. But
Well, you just about got this one fixed right.
Yeah.
You're just going to go somewhere with new troubles.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
An apartment. Don't have to worry about anything.
So you didn't make it. You didn't make it to the park then, right?
No, we didn't. No, we stayed home because they got this. We were getting ready to leave. It was around 9ish, and they came. They were the restoration company. They were supposed to come like between 11. Well, actually, between like 12:30 and 1. They got here 11.
Wow.
a.m. So they had the dryers running since Saturday morning till this morning. Well, they came yesterday to. They wanted to shampoo it. And so everything's out. Everything's dry now. All I got to do is put the molding back or replace the molding and fix the toilet. See, the first leak I had, it was outside the house, so I was responsible for that. But now they're telling me since it was inside the house, they'll get the plumber here to fix it. But you know that's going to be the least cost out of everything. But my thing is, I just hope they can put everything on that first claim because it's going to my insurance.
Yeah. Well, you know, at least you caught it when you did. Sounds like it could have been a whole lot worse.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Rod said. Anyway, well, how are things going with you, Tim?
Well, I mean, you're pretty good. I actually, I mean, this might be a good opportunity to say we're getting to that time of year where we're looking at things that you do, you know, annually or biannually. So, you know, folks, the time change is coming, and that's always kind of your reminder. Hey, get new batteries in them smoke alarms. Your smoke alarms aren't working, install new ones. If maybe you need an extra one or two, it's so cheap. You know, we recently had a fire around Pittsburgh that killed, you know, just a whole. It was unbelievably devastating how many people were killed in this fire, and you know, so I just implore all of you, get them smoke alarms working. But it's also that time, you know, hey, flip that mattress, right? This things we do a couple, and you know what Mitch has said, inspect them hoses. Those steel braided hoses are so inexpensive. Use on your wash machine. Take a look at them. If you have those old rubber ones, get them nice steel braided ones on there, and inspect them a couple times a year and replace them after. You know, I don't know what it is, every 5, 6, 7 years, even if they look perfect, because it's just devastating. These little things, and you think, gosh, you know, I wish I would have just taken a few minutes and spent, you know, just a little bit of money instead of having this horrible disaster on my hands, because, you know, nobody thinks it's going to happen to them, but it happens to somebody. So, if anybody in our listenership is listening, please do these little things. Yeah. That's a PSA from the Geeksters.
That's very good.
The more you know.
Hey, the more you know, the less you're like me.
Well, I'm thinking like the NBC. Remember those?
Oh yeah, the more you know.
Right, with the stars in the background.
CBS Cares and the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
I think we should do that.
The Geeksters has been paid. We don't really give a care.
That's right. Yeah, we couldn't. Yeah, really.
We take money to tell you to do these things.
That's right. We're only saying that because it puts money in our pocket. We couldn't care less if you change the batteries in your smoke detector.
Oh gosh.
Tim and I, maybe. Mitch doesn't look like he's laughing too much.
Oh no,
no, he's not.
I should do too. I mean, I have electric detectors, but they have the battery backup in it.
Right. Yeah. So do mine. The problem with the electric ones, well, not a problem. It's supposed to help you when there is a fire, but they all go off at the same time.
Well, no, and that's a good thing. I was just going to say that's the benefit, is that they're all tied together, and
sure.
It's a problem if it's a nuisance. I mean, if you have a nuisance detector somewhere that's, you know, was misplaced a few feet from the oven, I mean, that's a problem, and they all go off. But right. Those things are the bomb, because you know, they got, you know, you run that third wire. You don't run that third wire. I mean, the way they're cabled, you use a 3-wire. And that red wire is actually just what cables want to hear, is like a for communication, for data, and one goes off and they all go off. I think those are absolutely. I don't have those here. I wish I did. I think they're fantastic. Do you have a problem? Are you saying you have one that's like a nuisance? It goes off as a nuisance and they all go off? Like hey, dinner's ready.
Yep. That's how I know when dinner's ready.
Or when dinner's burnt, in my case.
Well, that's or ready. That's what I.
Same thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you know when the bacon is done. go off. I live in such close proximity to my neighbors that I'll be walking around the dog and I'll hear somebody's alarm go off, smoke detector go off. At least I know it's not just me. Somebody else is also making bacon. But they also they're kind of sensitive to heat as well. So if you're cooking like the broiler in the oven or something a little warmer, and you open up the oven and that blast of hot air comes out, yeah, careful.
Well, where is the smoke detector?
It's not too far from the kitchen, but it's close enough.
That's a problem.
And then the cat starts freaking out, and the dog freaks out, and animals squeak out, and then you're frantically running around with something to try to stop at least one of them.
Right.
And then there's always one that lasts another good half an hour after that. Chirp. Chirp.
So is there a Pavlovian effect where you're out on the lawn and you hear somebody else's smoke alarm go off, and you're thinking bacon, and you get hungry and you don't even know why?
Now that you mentioned it.
Oh gosh, Pavlov and his dogs. Nah, anyway. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm doing fine. We're doing good here. I had a great fiscal week, and glad to be here, of course, as always.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Nothing. Work's been going really good. Excited for OLF is coming up. I leave on Thursday, so that'll be exciting.
Everybody got a thing of it, man.
Well, I went last year to OLF and then to NELF, and this year I'm going to go ahead and go back to OLF. See everybody, have a good time. I'll be leaving here on Thursday, coming back on Monday. So hopefully the pattern of this week will continue and things will be really smooth. A couple of my clients I already know they're going to be out of town. Just talking with them, they said, they're going to be out of town this week. So I'm like, great. I'll catch you guys when you get back next week. So
you won't get no calls when you're out the Mongolian Grill or whatever it was called?
Yeah, I hope not. We'll see what happens, though. There's always the chance. But so far, things have been working well, and I haven't heard anything from anybody. Did some server updates this morning. Everything's. I'm trying to think of things that are happening that I've done that has been exciting, and nothing.
I hate excitement.
Well, I mean, sometimes I'm able to bring to the show, hey, this is a project that I've been working on, and this is how we solved it, and these are the roadblocks we ran into, and other times it just, it's just maintenance, and it's this user needs their email set up, and that user needs to get their email set up on this other computer, and this printer needs to be installed. It's like, well, I can do all those.
It's nice. I mean, it's nice to shake things up, but you never apologize for dull routine.
I mean, I get paid the same whether whether I'm doing a project or whether I'm installing a new user on a
right. It doesn't have the psychological cost, though.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
I suppose that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that's the monetary cost is the same, but the psychological cost is cake. I get a chance to relax and have some good days, and so it's been nice. It's been nice. It makes up for the days where I know that come up where I feel like I work. I think we all go through that. We all go through the cycles where you just feel like we're trying to get up and we get kicked back down.
Yeah, it's just one thing after another. Boom, 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 boom. You can't keep up. You feel like the best you're hoping for is just to tread water.
Right.
So when you get a nice little run of just routine, it's like, this is good. This is good. I'm getting caught up here, getting back, feeling like myself again, getting caught up on some little things, maybe clean the shop out a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, catch up with them little things. So that's all right. I never apologize for that dull routine. But I mean, if that's a show, we can just sign off then.
Oh.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Shortest Geeksters ever. The title is Null.
Yeah.
Null, is that the show? Null.
Null is the show title.
Great. Yes, the Geeksters returned Null.
I did some tech stuff. My Windows 10 was crashing. Started using it. Yeah, I started trying to do a Google Hangout, and the camera locked up, and I killed it in Device Manager, but it was still running.
Really?
Yeah, it was just there was a couple updates, and it may be all right now, but it was just I couldn't do nothing with it. Now I'm going to blame it being an older machine, a Core 2 Quad. Maybe it had something to do with it. But then again, I had 8.1 on there. Not 8.1, 8 that I bought, and it ran fine on there actually.
No, I think Windows 10 is still in. It's in testing. They just released their first patches this last week, um, and so no, I would. I mean, I guess you could blame it on the machine, but I personally would probably just blame it on it's a beta. It's a beta operating system. It's supposed to crash.
If it's got those keyloggers running in the background, there's
Right.
some resources you don't need.
Oh yeah, Microsoft knows what's crashing. Did it give you send an error report and stuff like that?
No error. It's just like not the whole system. It was Chrome.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking now, if they're doing that keylogger, is that still going to work? When I set it up, I didn't use a password. I didn't use my Hotmail account. I just bypassed putting a password in there.
Well, yeah, you can create on at least on 8, and I've actually had some clients ask me this because when you do set up 8 or 8.1, I'm assuming with 10 that you do, like you mentioned, it asks you for an Outlook account, whether that's Hotmail, Outlook, or Live, a Microsoft email account, and then it uses that account to sync everything. But then you can also create a local account, and I've actually had a couple of my clients who have wanted to change their password, so they have to go and change like their Hotmail account. But then that password never gets changed on the machine. So when they log into their Hotmail account on the local machine, they have to use the old password. When they go to Hotmail to check their email, they have to use the new password.
I did it without nothing, no email account at all.
And so at least I know in 8 and 8.1 you can go into your user settings and you can say create a local profile, which is more like what we know from Windows, XP and 7, where you have a local account that you can create, give it yourself administrative rights so it's not tied to your Microsoft Live Outlook or Hotmail account.
My question is, do you think if you do that, it's still using that keylogger and everything?
Oh, I think it's using the keylogger the whole time.
Regardless, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the keylogger. I mean, I don't know in detail. I haven't ran any tests on it. I haven't really researched it. I haven't turned on that machine. I mean, the machine that's behind me is not the Windows 10 machine. That's back on the ground. So I haven't even touched it since we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
I said I don't really have a. Meh. I got nothing. I don't have anything to do with it. I guess I could turn it on because I do have to do some screenshots for a Windows 8 VPN. So maybe that's one of the things I was going to ask you guys, and we can talk about it later too, is that I have to create some screenshots for a Windows 8 VPN, and I don't have a Windows 8 machine. So.
Well, I do.
maybe I can team.
It did boot up too. One time it would crash. I had to force shut it down. It rebooted, and I did get some updates. So maybe it'll work better now. But I can get you some screenshots if you want some.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, talking about things we're doing, and I was able to kind of yesterday actually spend some time and really work on my VPN connections off my Linux box because I do go work at coffee shops, and sometimes I need to get into maybe I'm at a coffee shop and I want to use I want to use a more secure tunnel, and I do have subscribed to the private VPN. Is it private VPN? PIA private internet access is the website for my VPN provider, and that's great for I can pretend I'm in England or London and things like that. That's great to go around country restrictions. But sometimes I just need to be a quick one, and I have the router that I have here has a VPN on it, and was able to get that connected there. But then I was also able to test out with some other clients who they need VPN access back into their work. I was able to get all that set up. And then routes, because when you by default, at least in Linux and actually in Windows, by default when you create a VPN connection, you route all your traffic through that VPN connection, which is fine if you want to go around restricted country codes. So you want to pretend like you're in London for whatever reason, right? But say I just need a VPN home to my house, but I'm still in the same city or I'm in the same state. I don't necessarily want all my traffic to go through my home because that's just another couple hops that data has to go through. So then you set up routes, and you set up, you just tell it all the traffic to when I want anything on my home network, go here. When I want anything off my other, just wherever internet access I am, maybe it's a coffee shop, go this way. So, but one thing to think about that, since I brought up VPNs, one thing to think about a VPN though is that when you set it up, some of the problems you may run into is when the IP addresses are the same. So if I have and what I mean by that is so you at home are running like a 192.168.1.1, you know, uh, IP address, and that's your router. So you're getting your DHCP from that pool. Well, now you go to a coffee shop, and they're also running 192.168.1.1. What the routes are gonna not know which way to go because you're both are running the same subnet.
You're talking about the gateway IP address?
Yeah, the IP address for the whole system, right? So if you're setting up a network and and you know that your clients are going to need a VPN back in, make sure you set it to something random, something that works but yet is random, because you want to make sure that when your client goes home, because you have no control over their home network unless they call you out there. But most of the network devices that you're going to pick up off the shelf are going to be the 192.168.0.0 or 0.1 or 1.1.
Right.
You're not going to pick up one that's a 172.16.3. That's a valid internal IP address. So I make my clients, 172.16, whatever, 10, something weird, to make sure that when they're at home and they need to VPN back into their work to run an application or to get some information, that there's not going to be a conflict in the routing.
Very good.
So the way that's, we're talking about things that we're working on, is that I've got a documentation here. It's 4 pages long, and it's from one of the veterinary clinics. One of the vets wrote up how to do VPN, and I asked him for it, and I emailed him back today and said, hey, can I make some changes to that, because there's some things in here that they don't need to do. The way that it's kind of written out seems to me it's a little confusing. It's step by step, but it seems to be just it's step by step. But what he's done is he'll when you click on it says the start menu, and then it has an arrow, network and internet, and then an arrow, and network and sharing center, and then an arrow. So with the step by steps they're just a paragraph, instead of actually being like a bullet points or 1, 2, 3, which seems to make it really easier. So you can so it seems to make it easier. So when somebody who's looking at this, because the people who are going to look at this are not they're not technicians, they're everyday users, and I want to make it as simple as possible. So when they go home and they set up their VPN to get back to the doctor's office, so they can work on their charts after hours, they can sit down and go step 1, step 2, step 3. And I think in a paragraph format, your eyes have the tendency to maybe you'll get to step 3 or 4 or 5, and then what happens is you stop, you go do something, you come back to it. Now it's in a paragraph format, so now you kind of have to start from the beginning and read. At least that's my take on it. So I'm going to be doing some, that's kind of what I've been doing, is updating a VPN documentations with the how-tos, and that's why I need an 8, because I think I'm going to throw in some screenshots to make it easier. Kind of one of my projects I've been working on lately.
Yeah, good.
Interesting.
I expect a full report.
All right.
Something I did want to ask Mitch, kind of getting back to just what he was saying earlier. I'm assuming that if you have a machine that ran 8 or 8.1 or whatever happily, that Windows 10 is probably going to run. You would expect it to run about the same, right? And if I load it up on something, driver support is going to be the same as it was in Windows 8, right? I mean, is that what you found, or did you see anything weird?
I did have a weird something like an unknown device wasn't installed, so I may have to get the chipset driver. But I forgot what that model number is on that motherboard. It's a gigabit that I built, and but I threw all the boxes away. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the crashes, but I think it's more like what Martin said. It's just there's some stuff in there. It's
okay.
Buggy.
Okay.
I mean, it was great with when Windows 8. I didn't upgrade it to 8.1. Actually, I switched from that machine to another one. I put that hard drive in another machine. Then I had to go through Microsoft to get the new, switch out the, because it, I think they let you switch it 3 times, something like that, or so.
Okay.
I twice, and then it crashed in that machine. It's still there. The hard drive's still good, but it crashed, and I've just pulled that hard drive, so I never used that copy of Windows 8 that I bought again. It's still in limbo out of the machine.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, actually, speaking of drivers, there was great program that I used to use all the time, and actually just I had to dial it up the other day for a Windows 7 machine. I don't know if it would do you any good, because it hasn't been updated forever. But like I said, I had luck with it. Still, up and through Windows 7, and that's unknown devices. You ever run that? Um, it's, I threw the link in the chat. It's halfdone.org UKD, and basically, when you go into Device Manager and it's like, well, unknown device, you know, I don't know what it is. Sorry, it gives you a million details. It's like Windows seems to know a lot about it for telling you it doesn't know anything about it. So that
Right.
was a great program. Was that you would run it, it would scan through, it would find these unknown devices, and then it would kind of like help you bridge that gap. And so it would say, it appears to be a this, this, and this. And so it kind of relied on the database that I think it had available. And like I said, it hasn't been updated in forever. However, you know, it's been huge in just trying to establish, is this a chipset driver? Is this a graphics driver? And more often not, it's like for a card, a card reader or something of this nature. But at least it kind of points you in the right direction. And so, finding, installing drivers for an unknown device, because Windows Update, it goes through. It's like, sorry, couldn't
Hmm.
find it. It's like, well, could you at least tell me like what you were looking for, kind of, instead of just very vaguely saying, I don't know. But that was always so useful. It was always like the first step in solving those drivers, especially on a reinstall. But I got a machine that came in here that it's apparently had these unknown devices forever, and so as I'm trying to go through it, figure out what on earth is wrong with this thing, it's like, what, I'm at least going to resolve that anyway. But running that unknown devices, I would kind of know in which direction I'm shooting, and then boom, I could usually pull out the disk with the driver packs, have it scan through that, and issue solved. So, um,
Have you used it on Windows 7 machines?
yeah, that yeah, it. I just had that out the other a few days ago for a Windows machine, Windows 7 machine. It's an older laptop that had, I think it had Vista on it, like from the factory, but it had the Windows 7 upgrade, and it had a couple of things in Device Manager that were lit up, and I like I said, one of them was like card reader, and the other one I don't know yet. That's as far as I got, but yeah, I mean, it worked great on Windows 7. It works fantastic for something that hasn't been updated in forever. It's and once again, it's wonderful. The portable app, so there's nothing to install, runs quickly, and really does give you a lot of insight into what's missing, what category of things is missing.
I'm going to try it.
That's very cool. Yeah, those unknown drivers, and they'll drive you nuts. And sometimes it's the weirdest things. I've seen those and come across. I think we all have horror stories from those. And it's things like an update to the chipset on the motherboard or some random thing that will fix something else. And that's what a pain.
Yes, and with those chipset drivers, they make weird problems. I found sometimes, like, you're like, what's going on here? This thing just isn't right. Something's not right, and I've installed like a chipset driver. It's like, it just seems to solve a number of just little weird things or something. I'm not describing this very well, but it's like, how would you have known that? I don't know. So, I guess I'm probably thinking more of these like a home built machine too. Um, but yeah, unknown devices. I've got a lot of use out of that over the years. That's definitely one that's always been in the toolbox, and I think it's fantastic that it's still working, at least up and through Windows 7. I'll have to
Well, I would
experiment with
imagine
it.
if it's going to work on 7, it should work in 8 or 10 too, for that fact.
Okay.
We'll find out.
Maybe run. I don't know if the database is. Well, I don't know. Who knows?
It's older. The me,
Yeah.
I mean that motherboard is like 5 years old, I guess. About 5.
Okay.
So hopefully, it may work fine. But normally, I would just play around with the chipset drivers in that case. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try that program.
That's cool. Just trying to think of something. I had a job come in this week, and I can't remember off the top of my head. So that's I'm looking it up. Sorry. Well, I did. Oh, something else that I just thought of, that my son texted me last night. And so earlier on, before school started, I bought my son a Chromebook for school. He's a ninth grader, and I knew there would be a time where he needs to write some stuff, and he doesn't have, he's got an old Linux laptop, but I thought, for the price, a Chromebook's going to work out well. He can take it to school. Everything's Google based, and that way, wherever he goes, he can just log into his Google account and he can have his data with him. So last night, he did text me and he said, "Hey, can I get my Chromebook? We're going to be writing some reports." And so I was able to deploy his Chromebook to him last night, and he went through, and when we went through and set it all up and got him all up and running. Had a couple issues. I threw on some. Some of the plugins that I use all the time in Chrome, HTTPS anywhere, ad blocker, the cleaner type tools, so things like that just help with pop-ups and blocks and stuff like that. He had been wanting to, a couple of things. He needed to do a presentation. That's part of this project coming up, and he could either do it in PowerPoint, which Chrome doesn't really have in something like that, or an application called Prezi. And if you've never heard of Prezi before, it's online. It is free. You get a kind of cheesy templates, nothing, but they do have professional ones. And I've seen some excellent, some just mind-blowing Prezi applications or presentations before. The website's Prezi, Prezi.com, and it's a presentation software. So he can present a Prezi application, and since it's on web-based, you can just open it up and run it and log in with your account, whether you're on a Windows box or whatever. He was having issues with it, and so if anybody has run into this before and you do use Prezi on Chrome, there is an application or there's an extension that I've been using called HTTPS Everywhere. Probably not needed as much anymore, but back in the day, 6 months ago, what would happen is you would use something, say, I'm just going to use Gmail, for example. Gmail would give you the option to either use https://gmail.com or just gmail.com. Well, since then, what they've done is if you just go to gmail.com, it rolls you over to the HTTPS version. Prezi, what it will do is, HTTPS Anywhere, the plugin, will go out and see if there is an HTTPS version for you of the same website, and then automatically roll you over to that website, whether it's Facebook, Gmail, Hotmail, and so on. But for some reason, Prezi must have an HTTPS site, but it breaks. So HTTPS Anywhere, the extension, was actually keeping my son from being able to view any of the templates. They wouldn't show up. So we removed that, and he's able to get in. But so if you are using a Chromebook or even Chrome in general, and you go to use Prezi and you have the HTTPS Anywhere plugin, go ahead and disable it or even delete it. You can unenable it, disable it. You can't, unfortunately, with that application, as opposed to things like AdBlock or even Privacy Badger, you can allow exceptions per site. With that HTTPS Anywhere, you can't. It's either on or off. So I wanted to pass that on. If you do run into that issue with Prezi on Chrome and you have that extension, go ahead and you're going to have to disable that. So we got his Chromebook all up and running. I need to go ahead and set up Chrome printing now. And cloud printing, you can do that right from your local machine with Chrome on it. Either that or you can get printers that have that. And I just finished setting that up for the school, so it'll be pretty easy to set that up here. The other option is he has Dropbox on the Chromebook, so he can always put whatever he needs to in Dropbox, and we can just print it locally from any of our machines. So he was pretty excited to get his Chromebook, and it just turns on, and if they boot up quick, they run for all day, so he can actually leave it charged all night, take it with him to school, turn it on, turn it off, open and close it, sleep it, and then come home, and it still have plenty of battery power to it.
Nice.
Made sure he had offline documents, so if he travels with it, if he's in the car and he needs to write a report, and we don't have internet access, my hotspot's down or something like that, he can access his data offline, and then you can then once it gets online, it'll just sync all the data for him. Yeah, it's being a Google thing, we were able to test out the Hangouts last night, and that was kind of fun. So, and then of course, now that he has the Chromebook and Google Hangouts, you can do the plugin. What's the plugin? The remote. They have a remote support plugin for, remote desktop for the Hangouts.
Mm-hmm.
So I could actually do the remote desktop through the Google Hangout to his Chromebook and help him if he needs help with anything. Because being that it's a Chromebook, it won't. There's nothing to install, so you can't install, TeamViewer or Screen Connect or, uh, you know, Instant House Call. It just doesn't. It doesn't work unless they have plugins within Chrome. But Chrome has their own built-in one.
How are those things for online banking? No problem.
Well, it's a browser. I mean, really, honestly, think of it as a browser.
Right.
So, if as long as they're no more in, they are not any less secure than if you were to take your laptop into a coffee house or use your laptop at home. It's Chrome, so really, being that it's a browser, as long as you're still connected to a encrypted wireless, and that you're still make sure you still have the lock in the top corner, so it's encrypted. Then I don't see any reason why you couldn't do any type of banking on that. Though they're still susceptible because you're still sending stuff over the airwaves. So if somebody's using Wireshark or sniffing the traffic and stuff like that, anything that shows up, anything that could capture from your laptop, you can capture from a Chromebook or an iPad or your Nexus device or whatever. So that's the Chromebook itself is not necessarily less secure because it's a Chromebook and not a laptop. But there, I mean, you're talking. I think this one was 250, something like that, and it's one of the newer models have come out since then. But really, just for I'm almost tempted to get one for my daughter just because she needs to write. She's going to be writing reports and applications and doing this stuff, and they're just lightweight. You're not adding on another textbook to the kids, to their backpacks that they're having to carry to school. My biggest concern is that I'm afraid that it won't be treated very well. On accident. I don't think the kids are going to throw it down or anything like that. But you know what I mean.
But that's why you have it, right? Because it's inexpensive.
Yeah, but I can't be dropping 250, just because I accidentally kicked it off the stairs.
Right.
Well, that's not an accident, kids. Well, you know what? Well, hey, this is how it works. Dad buys the first one. That's how it works.
That's right. The first one's always free.
No, that's how it works. I mean, that's how it is with the kids. It's like, look, I'll pay for the first one because you pay for all of them and they don't learn. But I mean, accidents do happen, so I'm willing to assume that as something of the
Consequences.
what do you call that in insurance? The deductible. To me, I feel that's the deductible to my children having things is that I'm willing to replace the first one. So a screen gets broken, well, I'll take care of it, okay? But the next one gets broken, and these aren't accidents. I mean, it's abuse. Well, my daughter, there's a reason we call her the product tester. So, and new screen, $65. It's like, okay, so this one's yours. Well, see, now it hurts. Oh,
right.
Now I learn. Okay, now I understand. So, it's not just with these electronics. I mean, that's kind of how you have to teach kids anything. Is that, you have to make them feel that pain. And you know what? It's like anything. It doesn't hurt so much now. If they have to learn it when they're older, they do things that hurt a lot more. So, but I think that that's the big sell with the device. It's like, well, $250 for the Chromebook. Well, it's not $600 for the laptop or $900 that they wanted for the the MacBook. So, it doesn't cost you quite so much, and everything's backed up nicely. So, something bad happens to it, it's not like, oh, I just lost a whole year of my life. Which when a kid, that might as well be their whole lifetime. And so, I'm not encouraging your kid to be destructive, but it does take a lot. That's the big sell in that thing to me, is that it does take a much smaller bite when things happen as they're going to.
Right. Well, he's been using his he has an Ubuntu laptop, and he does drop out to the terminal and do commands on it. So the first thing he did on his Chromebook is hit Control-Alt-T, which is it brings up the terminal in Ubuntu, and it actually brings up a terminal, and he goes, "What's this?" And I said, "I don't know, but I wouldn't be messing with it." Like, don't be trying out your RM dash commands on there, which is the remove. I said I know that it's built on some stuff, but I wouldn't be messing with it. Please don't break it.
Well, he that's the only thing I've ever. that's the only way I ever learned how to fix anything was by breaking my own
Well,
stuff. So,
exactly, and
yeah.
he's a ninth grader. He's got some technology
Oh,
behind him.
yeah. Okay,
So
he's
you know
got
what? If he breaks it,
lost cause.
I'll send him some web pages and say, here's where to go. You know, I know that Dora and Cody have talked about the Chromebooks, and I don't know if you can order like a restore CD or you can. I think you could download the restore, thumb drive it, boot from the thumb drive. So I mean, if that happens, then I'm going to say, here's the instructions. You have a thumb drive. If you need some assistance, let me know. But you know, and then if he can recover his Chromebook, he will be that much, like, I mean, how awesome would that feel?
So these Chromebooks, I mean, they don't run like this. Isn't like Android. You can't download install APKs from the store.
I don't know.
What's the deal? I don't understand. I haven't played with one enough to really understand that. I just always imagined these to be just a larger version of their tablets, but apparently not. It's
They're,
different somehow.
they're their own operating system, and so when you turn on the Chromebook, it actually it prompts you to log into with your Google account.
Yeah.
And so the Google account he's using is one that it's a business account, so I'm able, I can not necessarily monitor it, but it's just part of the applications in the business account that we've had for a long time. So, but yeah, it just logs right in, and then you can have multiple people log in. You can share, but all your docs are actually shortcuts to Google Docs. So you have an icon in the start menu, and in the bottom taskbar, that's the Google Docs. You click on it, and it opens up Chrome and takes you to Google Docs. So it's all web based. Gmail, click on it, opens up Chrome, takes you to Gmail. So there's not, it is very much just a Chrome browser
Yeah. Okay.
on there. I don't think they may be running a solid state drive in there. It's very quiet, it's very light. It's really, I really like it. I know that Cody and Dor have tried to use them for conferences. Like if I was going to, if I had one and I was going to go to OLF, probably if I knew that I was just needing it for the weekend, I would probably just take it with me because everything I do is Google based. So I could still take it. I could still do remote support ish because my remote support is Screen Connect. But it weighs, I don't have a heavy laptop, but yet it weighs a lot less.
$250. So what?
Yeah.
What model? You said 250. I'm seeing there's a number of these different models. Which one did?
This one, oops, let me look here. The one that I received, it's the Asus. Maybe it's a Samsung. Let me look. I think I got it from Amazon, so I can just. Maybe it's the Acer C720. Yeah, it's the Acer C720. So this one actually on Amazon right now it's $199. Yeah, that's the one I received. So if you look up the Acer C720 Chromebook, so 11.6 inch, 2 gigs, and then you can either do a 32 or 64 or 32 or 16 gigabyte drive in it, and that's what I think it was. I got him the 32 gig. So it's a Celeron processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gig solid state drive, 12-inch screen, Intel graphic HDMI output, and then it says an 8.5-hour battery life, which for school is fine.
Well, sure.
It does say the HDMI input, and I forgot to mention this to you. So if he does Prezi and he can take that Chromebook to school and he hooks it up to the projector in the classroom to do a presentation, then I have one of these, and this is just an HDMI to VGA dongle. And we plugged this in last night, and actually when you plug this into the Chromebook, it actually comes up now as a second monitor. So he could, if we go down this way, and I said if you want to do this, and we can talk about money and stuff, but he's already talked about wanting to get a mouse. The mouse pad, if you look at the Chromebook, the mouse pad is like a Mac mouse pad. There's not really any buttons. It's one big square, and this is the right side and this is the left side, and but he's talked about wanting to get an external mouse for it, maybe even an external keyboard, and then you could do something like this to an external monitor. Then you can dual monitor it. There's not a docking station, but if you have this dongle hooked up and you close it, everything flashes, and then then you have one monitor, so it kind of will act like a docking station.
Sure.
So it's, and I don't know how much this dongle was. I got it locally, and I think it was $4 or $5, something like that. So this didn't work on one of the first generation Chromebooks, which is my school that I work at. That they have one of the first generation Chromebooks, and this does not work. I thought it would, so we could hook it up to a projector, but it doesn't at all.
Well, but the output on the Chromebook is HDMI, right?
Right, but the interface, for some reason, it wouldn't do this to the interface.
Well, I'm just saying, if you had an external monitor that had an HDMI input, wouldn't you just need an HDMI cable?
Yeah, you could do that too.
Okay, so I mean, it's actually it's literally that simple.
Yes.
To creating, to kind of well, in place of having a docking station, you boom, HDMI cable for your screen. You have how many USB ports are on it? So
1, 2, 3 USB ports, an SD card, and HDMI.
Is it Bluetooth?
I don't.
Okay. Well,
know.
but basically, I mean, this as far as slapping the lid shut, setting it to the side, and sitting at your desktop and working in a quote unquote desktop environment. This is no big deal here. I mean,
Right. It doesn't look like it's Bluetooth. 802.11 BGN, and then 1366 by 768 graphics. So not, it's not a HD monitor. You're not going to get those high definitions, but most of your 15-inch monitors, if you get them in your $400, $500 range right now, or excuse me, 15-inch laptops are 1366 by 768. I mean, I ran one like that for years before I got this. Upgraded my Lenovo.
Right. The point being, it doesn't require an adapter. It's just
right. You don't. Yeah.
An off-the-shelf cable you probably have hanging around could probably get you going. Well, that's very cool. I'd love to have one to kind of to play around with. I think it'd be a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, I think one of the best reviews I've ever heard of that device was a guy. He was more of an old timer that he really wore blinders in life in a lot of ways. That's probably not a very the way I'm describing it's probably not fair, but for lack of a better term, that he knew Windows servers. That's what he knew. He knew Windows servers. He knew how to set them up. He knew how to keep people happy in offices and with the mail and all this. And so everything was there was a very very a very limited area between here and here. This is how things should be, and this is just what we do. And a few times that I had discussed different programs that as far as just things that we use are like I'll tell you a good one is Fabs. I mean, he was like, nah, I don't really know about that because that's just not the way they ever did it. And he just, I guess maybe that day or that week or that year, he didn't want to hear about anything new. But and just out of the blue one day, he starts talking about these Chromebooks. He goes, I bought a couple and set them up down here, and it like perfectly like fixed some solution. It was a perfect solution to some little problem that he had in this particular environment in this office, and he was like, it was like wheels had like dust and cobwebs blowing off of them as they were spinning for the first time in years. Where it was like he had discovered this new thing, and he was like, oh man, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. That I couldn't imagine him, using anything that new and that completely different from, like I said, just the very small range of tech in which he was comfortable and used to working. And so I was like, wow, I thought that really spoke a lot of the Chromebook, that it was something it was cheap, and that was the thing. He was like, it's so cheap. He said, I bought it, I brought it here, unboxed it, plugged it in. He was like, and it was just working. It was just doing what it needed to do, and it was like it didn't require. I guess the fact that the hassle factor was virtually zero really got him excited about it. And so I whenever I think about the Chromebook, I think about that. And once again, I love anything tech that does that for people. But I felt that spoke very highly to that device.
Yeah, I kind of he said because it came in, he didn't really need it, so I left it in the box. And then yesterday, like I said, he said he wanted it hooked up, and I thought, okay. I don't need to designate, Windows updates and all that kind of stuff to it. I know that, but I will need to designate some time to hook this up. So I plugged it in, let it charge for a little bit, and then opened it up and turned it on, logged in as him, and I was done. added some, and then the longest thing was to add extensions to Chrome. Everything else just synchronized, and it was done.
Yeah.
Really out of the box and up and running, ready to go. 7 minutes, maybe 10, and then you add on your extensions, and so you could be, I mean, okay, so you could be fully patched, brand new, in less than 15. Now, if you have, like if I log into that Chromebook and I turn it on and I have my apps sync across and I have my Google Docs sync across and all my extensions and my tweaks and settings for my Chrome, that takes a little bit more time. But really, I could be up and running on a brand new Chromebook with all my settings in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's probably stopping to take a couple sips of water and maybe use the restroom. I mean, really, it is turn it on. It is plug and play. It really is.
Very nice.
Aussie Gary joined us in the chat, and I asked him about his ticket. And I said, "Hey, was your ticket very expensive?" And he.
I just opened that.
I guess we should ask him first. Gary, let us know if that's okay to mention that on the air. So we'll move on to something else before that. But
is that in? I mean, is that in? That's not in dollars. Is that in dollars? That's not dollars, is it?
If he's from Australia, the American dollar to the Australian dollar is almost 1-to-1. It's real close.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I didn't realize this was. I was thinking it was.
He wants you to pay
Not
for
Australia. For some reason, I was thinking of something else. It was okay. I mean, that's.
Can I say something real quick? I hope he's not driving right now.
I hope so too.
Well, just drive slowly.
Right. Pull over to the side of the road. We're only going to be here for about another hour and a half, maybe 2. You'll be fine.
I can't be held responsible to that. I'm sorry.
He does accept PayPal.
Maybe every show comes with a disclaimer now that don't listen to this while being in a potentially expensive situation if distracted, I suppose.
Well,
that's probably one of the coolest things that I've ever seen, though. I mean, if you're taking that hit for the team, man, you rule, dude.
So, listeners, that is we read his email, was it last week, saying that he ran through the red light because he was laughing so hard and his ribs hurt. That's a 415 Australian dollar fine.
From a freaking red light camera.
So we'll be doing a Kickstarter and a Indiegogo campaign for Aussie Gary to see if to help him out with this one. So we're gonna pass the virtual hat around. So just go ahead and drop in some in change there.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I gotta say, I think that most of our listeners pay a very small price every week having to listen to this. But that's a big chunk. I think that's got to be a record so far. So, yeah, that's very impressive. Thanks for showing that. And I'm sorry that happened, but at the same time, I'm like really proud. I think that's fantastic. Good for you, man. I'd wear that as a badge.
So he's working at home today.
Yeah, are you still allowed to drive?
Yeah, still be careful. Watch the steps. If you got to go downstairs, I don't want to. I broke my arm. I don't want to. We can't help you with that one.
Man alive. Well, that's great. No, thanks for that. That's wow. The far-reaching consequences of our show. These are unintended consequences. Who knew?
I didn't.
No, me neither.
I didn't know.
Wow.
But now since we've got Gary and we're mentioning that, he's chatting with us. He's chatting with us live on the IRC channel. And if you go to, if you have an IRC channel or an IRC, application, whether XChat, MIRC, I'm using Quazzle in my Linux wing, or even if you just go to podnuts.com/live, there's actually kind of an IRC interface in there. And one of the web pages I came across this week, just because sometimes I really need to do it, this is just a basic IRC command cheat sheet. So how to, change your username, how to do a message. And really it takes me 3 or maybe 2 good scrolls on my mouse to get all the way through the page. It's very, very simple. But if you have ever wanted to use IRC, didn't know really how to do things, because you can send private messages to somebody. You can change your nickname. You can open up a chat session with somebody. You can animate a message. You can say that you're away. So there's certain things you can do with that. But I came across this and thought this would be a good, we could throw this in today because we do use IRC. We use it a lot when we're talking on this channel. And of course, if you just use if you don't want to use the podnuts.com/live channel there, this seems to be the easiest. Oh, and then Mitch uses Pigeon, right? Do you still use Pigeon?
Very easy to use.
It's the free node network, and in the free node network, then you have channels, and we're the hashtag Podnuts channel. I guess I got to do this, right? Don't I have to do the hashtag? That was the action for the hashtag. If you ever watched Jimmy Fallon, you got hashtag Podnuts, and that's the channel you'll find us here. And we're all the Podnuts channels, all the Podnuts channels do use that thing. So Linux for the rest of us, we're always in there. I'm putting notes in there when the show's on, and I think actually Jeff Hallish on Sundays when he does his Podnuts show, he uses that one as well.
Which one was that?
The Podnuts call-in show.
I mean, what IRC client is he using?
Oh, I don't know what IRC client he uses, but he checks this channel and uses, and so you can talk on the chat with this one.
Yeah, Pigeon is real easy. You really don't have to know any of that stuff at all. Maybe when you initially set it up, and if you want to keep your password in there, like I do on this. But there's good ones out there. There's another one. Ice Chat is a real easy one to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that Windows based? I don't know if I've heard of that.
Yes.
Cold and lifeless.
And they had a built-in one with Firefox. And,
oh yeah, Fire Chat.
Yeah, but it's good to know. You need to know a lot of commands in there. I got pretty good with the way back one, but I haven't used it since. This is so easy though.
Ice Chat does support 95, 98, ME, 2000, XP 2003, Vista 7, 64-bit versions of XP, Vista, and 7, and the new Ice Chat 9 does support Windows 8.
Who was here in the chat room, he's the one that turned me on to Ice Chat.
Who?
Highlander.
Highlander.
He's in here. Actually, I think he moderates this, and he's the one that told me about Ice Chat years ago, and it was a pretty good one too.
Cool. So, guys, Nick Shaw has another product coming out. It's called Defunk.
What?
Defunk. D-F-U-N-K. And inside of D7.2...
Get the new product out.
Shut the front door. It's called Defunk. All right. So inside
Back that truck up.
Inside. Oh, that's awesome. Inside of D7.2, there is an application, and it's the D7.2 malware scanner. We've talked about D7.2 before in the past, and so Defunk is coming out. It's not going to be released as a separate application like debug or the crypto locker stuff. It will be inside of D7.2, so you have to get D7.2 to get this new one. There's a link. I'm going to put a link in the chat room, and it's kind of hard. I can explain it, but really, he has a YouTube channel, and he will go through what it does. But essentially, Defunk is this. You get this application and you run it, and it scans your whole computer. It scans the C drive, it scans registry entries, it scans all this stuff. Now, the best time to run this application will be on a brand new machine. So you may want to boot up a VM, say, and do all your Windows updates and your patches and everything like that, and then run this. Okay. Then what you do is you can go through and you can say, okay, you whitelist everything that you know is good with this application. So you go through and you say, okay, the C drive in the Windows, maybe that. Maybe it's this registry key for Adobe. Maybe it's this registry key for Malwarebytes. Maybe it's this folder for adware. You whitelist these things, and the whole point of the malware scan, and now going to be called Defunk, is that it shows you things that are not whitelisted. Does that make sense? So most malware products will show you something that's bad. Well, this does too, but this you have to whitelist it. So the more and more you used defunk or the malware scan, the better this gets.
Wait, okay, say that sentence one more time, please.
Okay. So the more you use defunk or the malware scan, the better it gets.
Okay, all right.
Because the more you use it, the more things you're going to whitelist. You're going to whitelist malware, malware bytes. You're going to whitelist Microsoft Security Essentials, Kaspersky, maybe AVG, depending on whether you think AVG is a virus or not. You know what I mean? And those type of things. So as you go along, now you go to run this defunct program, and it says, hey, these are things that you have not whitelisted. And you say, oh, that's new. I know that's good. Whitelist it. It stores it in your profile. Oh, that's good. I like that. Whitelist it. It stores it. So now next time you run it, those new things have been added in there. So then now you're going to run this one on an infected computer, and it's going to say, these I'm coming across, and you can say, well, I know that I've whitelisted everything I need to. I'm going to go ahead and just say remove all those. So you can run this prior to running your other stuff, and this is going to do a good cleanup of the data. And Nick's been working with major antivirus product companies, major malware companies to get their definitions, the same definitions that you would find in these paid-for products. Nick is putting out in his product that you can then use for, and this would be just one part of the D7. So this awesome product is just one thing within D7 that it would work. And actually, I used D7 last week again. Client had a problem. Her computer was slow. Internet was fast, but every now and then her computer would be slow. And so what I did is I just ran the repair tool, and it ran through and it repaired the Windows bits, which is the updater, the Windows updater. It ran Windows. It fixed the log files. It cleaned out temporary files. I mean, I just set it to go and ran an auto, and it ran through everything. And the next day, I heard her computer was running so much better. And I didn't hear from her today because she was gone Friday and it was gone over the weekend. But then I ran SpinRite on her computer just to make sure that the hard drive was looking good. But I ran D7, and it took about 20 minutes to run through everything, but it ran through and cleaned up a whole bunch of stuff, and it just basically went through and just reset settings, like group policies and which they're gonna re-come back down from the server, but it just did a cleanup, and yeah, she's very impressed with what happened, and her computer's working better. So the cost that you're gonna recoup your cost of D7 in no time at all. If you're using D7 actively, and and it does so much that there's no reason, it's kind of the Swiss Army knife. Really, the more you use your Swiss Army knife, the more you're going to realize how many times you need that funky little saw that you can cut down trees with. The more you use D7 too, you're going to realize that this is the only application you're going to really need to carry around with you.
You lost me on the saw, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Sorry.
This D7, this is turning into like I'm waiting for Ron Popeil to come in and buy it off of him, like at any day. Just make him an offer he can't refuse.
Maybe.
But it's getting, it really is extremely powerful. I mean, I know we talk about it here a lot, but there's a reason for that. It's a pretty powerful tool, and obviously the development he's put into it, it only continues to get better.
Right, and I had very little experience with it, until the day that we bought it live on. I bought it live on air. I had the training. I spent time with it. I've talked with Nick. I've asked him questions. And then now there's the DMZ, which is the files, and actually in the DMZ you can. I want to say this, but I could be wrong, so I may have to rebut this next week. But I believe in the DMZ, so if you sign up for the DMZ, you go in there, you get stuff, you get whitelists that have already been created. So they have already spent time. People have already spent time going through and whitelisting stuff. Then you can just add to your stuff already. Does that make sense? So you don't have to start from scratch. They've already worked on creating policies for you. So while you're paying for DMZ, you're getting, you're going to be able to get all of the tools and tips and extra bonus features with that, but you're also going to get some stuff they've already done the work for you.
Yeah.
So it just keeps getting better and better, and it's called Defunk, which I had to chuckle at.
Pretty outstanding, yeah. Yeah, Nick's a good guy, but he's not like some dorky, dry computer dude's hacking away in his basement. I mean, he has a lot of good personality, and I love seeing it come out in these programs. Defunk, that's outstanding.
Right, and he says it removes the funk off your Windows machine.
Oh, look at that! He brought it right back. Look at
Yep.
that. The guy, he's a marketing genius.
Yep, clean up defunk with defunk. Oh, Aussie Gary says he loves D7 too. It's great using it right now on 2 computers while watching you guys. Don't tell the customers. Shh, it's our little secret, Gary.
I hope none of the customers listen to this show.
I bet Gary would be maybe out of a job. I mean, not because
my customers stopped calling me.
that's that's why you're.
I can't believe you said that about me on the show. I'm like, shut up. Everybody knows you're dumb.
That'll be $89.95, please. So, last week was Patch Tuesday, and this Tuesday it's the infamous "Oh no, not again! More patches, more patch problems rear their ugly heads." GFI came out. When did they do this? It's just this week. Yesterday. It says we got through September's Patch Tuesday without any major problems after numerous small and large problems that arose from several August updates, just as we were starting to breathe a sigh of relief, though it seems October's bringing brand new troubles for those who were brave enough to install the patches immediately after release. One of the Windows 8 computers were rebooted and unable to authenticate against the domain. Problems having some Windows 8.1 computers fail with a message that says failure to configuring Windows updates. Kernel mode driver broke some stuff. So needless to say, Microsoft has released bad patches again. I think that's what they have. They're going to have a second release. So the second Tuesday of the month is release the patches, and then the third Tuesday of the month is break the patches that you just released.
It's D-patch.
It's defunct. It's defunct.
The third.
So check out this this article. It's a long URL, so in the show notes you're gonna have a Google goo.gle, which is like a Bitly link, but it takes you there. Talks about some of the patches that are broken and whatnot. But I haven't had any issues with the patches. I did quite a bit of updates actually starting this morning at 5 o'clock. I did my updates here. So, Mitch, have you patched your Windows 8 box?
There was a couple of them I had.
And no issues?
I haven't messed with it since, because it was during an issue I was having. And I rebooted it Sunday, but I didn't do nothing with it. I shut it down. Because one of the times actually last time I had to cold shut it down because it was locked up. And I rebooted it Sunday, and it took a while, but it did come back. But I didn't mess with it, and I shut it down normally after that.
Okay. I was reading the chat. I was reading the chat and shaking my head at the chat.
The chat's on fire tonight, Andy.
It is on fire.
Hey, anybody y'all listen to the show, if you don't show up live, I encourage you to do that. We have a good time. I think the show does well listening to it as a recording, but we do have live stream, we have a live chat, and everybody joins the fun here. It's not just the 3 of us carrying on, so highly encouraged.
Just the 3 of us. Sorry, I'll stop singing.
How much of that can we sing before we have to pay for it?
I don't know. I think that's probably it.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys actually last week I talked about okay here's something. So last week I talked about going in, and was it last week or the week before? I talked about my computer shop, or not my computer, but my automobile shop that I took my car to. Their wireless is all weird, and it's open, and you can get to the routers. And remember that?
Oh,
and
yeah.
The question was whether or not I should tell them or not. All right. So I go in last week after the show. A couple days later, it was Thursday. I was leaving on Friday. I went in Thursday to get some new windshield wipers. I had a credit, so that's why I didn't go to like Walmart or Fred Meyer's. and they'll put them on for me, and I just drop them off, give them the keys, and they go. The guy, so I go in, and the manager, who I had talked to many, many times, says, "So, what does it mean when your Windows 7 box says that your license is it's not a legal copy of Windows 7, and that you need to activate it?" And I said, that means you were given either not a good copy of license. What was that, Mitch?
A pirated copy.
Yeah. And he says, well, these are custom built machines. And I said, well, okay, then click on activate on the top of the machine, back of the machine, whatever like that. The sticker that's on there, go ahead and put in that key code. He says, there's no sticker. I said, so that means you probably either he needs to gift you your sticker that you purchased for that because you probably paid for that version of Windows, or you have a legal copy. And he goes, well, we have 3 machines in the shop. One of them has a sticker and the other one doesn't, and this one doesn't, and the other one I'm waiting for it to tell me that it has the same issue. And I said, yes. I said, you need to do that. So he said, well, the guy's going to come in and fix it. And I said, okay. So I checked back with him the next day. I said, what did he do to fix it? He said, oh, he came in and he rolled back the clock because
sure.
Yeah, if I got the error on Tuesday, then if I roll back the clock to Monday, then it's going to work. And I said, the problem with rolling back the clock, though, is that you have a database system that is, for your...
It literally it wrecks a million things to solve one thing that shouldn't be broken in the first place.
Exactly. Things like, because if I go in and I pay for a product, my car, to get done, the database is putting in time codes and stuff like that based on everything that, my car got fixed on Thursday. No, my car didn't get fixed on Monday. It got fixed on Thursday. You start rolling the time clock back, Windows updates are going to break. The database system is going to get all...
It breaks your browsers because security certificates now the times don't match up. I mean, if you roll back far enough, I don't know how far you'd have to go, but I don't know if a couple days matters. But I mean, it literally breaks a lot of stuff you would never even think about.
Right. Oh, and if it's on, and these computers are not on a domain. So I said, if you're on a domain, it will really break stuff. Like, you just go to hell in a handbasket.
What do you think the guy did? You think these are 3 custom machines. You think he built one and just imaged it across and used it in the R2?
I think so.
So well, I suppose it's possible they still have 3 legitimate copies of Windows, but I mean, probably not.
Right.
But, I mean, I guess I was trying to find like a legitimate reason. He just has, that could have happened. He just didn't put the key codes in the R2 machines, but change the things. But I don't know.
Well, even so, one of the thoughts was, well, what if the sticker's inside the case? Okay, maybe the sticker's inside the case. But as a tech, if I'm building you a machine, I'm going to do all your Windows updates. I'm going to activate it, right? I'm going to do all that stuff. And then even if I put the sticker on the inside of the machine to make sure that nobody steals it or whatever random reason you want to do that, to put the sticker on the inside, it's my job to make sure that it's activated using that key code and then get to the key code if something hiccups later on down the line. Not put it inside the case if I'm assuming that it's there. I don't really think it is. I give it about a 99% chance that it's not there. I wouldn't not register it, give it to you, and then months down the road say, oh, by the way, yeah, you need to do that. Turn off the machine, open up the case, get the screwdriver out. The sticker's going to be here. That's not their job, And Gary asked, were they custom-built machines? These were custom-built machines, so these aren't machines like you could get from Dell. You wouldn't, Dell, things like that. They come activated already because they've got the keys already on them. So yeah, these are custom-built machines that I have a feeling that they either used one license across 3 machines, they imaged it, did something else. The guy says, oh, well, the sticker's somewhere, because I checked back in a couple days later, and that's the time when I said, hey, I don't want to step on toes or anything. But if you'd like one of my business cards, let me know. And he goes, oh yeah, I'd like one of your business cards. So,
yeah, I've always gotten a habit too. Is that every machine I work on, in the root drive, usually it's C:\\, and I create a folder, real PC repair support, and so anything I do that stinking machine, man, it goes in that folder. And so if I work on it, it usually goes into that folder, and there's a subdirectory with the date of when I worked on. So every time I work on it, create a new folder, and that way I can kind of like look back and specifically find things. But if I'm setting up a brand new machine, man, that very first folder I'm creating, it's got the license key in it, including and if I set up a Office or something, that license key, it goes in there too. And so it shouldn't have, because you want to be working on these machines for your customers for the rest of forever, and so you're only making your own life easier. But at the same time, as a professional, you want to present yourself professionally to others as you would want them to present themselves to you. And so if you take over an account because hey, best case scenario, somebody's retiring, they're closing, or they're moving, or whatever, you want to be able to step into an operation that was professionally run and everything's just set up, and you can with very little time required to get up to speed, because if I was taking over one of Martin's accounts or Martin was taking over one of mine, I think we would both want the same thing. We would want the customer taken care of. It's not about us, but it's just keeping the customer running and making money. So at the very least, Martin could go in and say, okay, bam, okay, Tim must have just imaged these machines and just didn't think, but here's the key right here, and I punch it in, bam, and it's updated and it's done. So,
Right.
But to not have I mean, at the very least, not have that available, to not have the COA stickers installed anywhere, and you're starting to think that maybe Ed, while driving around his car, had built these machines for him.
Right. No, and Office 2013. When you buy whether you buy it, go get the key card, or whether you buy it directly from, say, Amazon or Microsoft online, you get the email, or they give you the key code on the screen. So you're supposed to copy it down, write it down, put it someplace safe. That always goes in there, yes. But Windows 7, any of the Windows operating systems that you buy, you get the COA sticker, and as a tech, that needs to go on the computer. Granted, yes, put it also in the directory, that file directory you're talking about, because the stickers get worn off or after time, or maybe a little, somebody picks at it and destroys it, But it's your job to do that. And if the key is nowhere to be found, it's not in any folders anywhere, and because they called the text, and the text said, "Oh, we'll just roll the date back." They didn't say, "My bad." My bad, I forgot. Look in this folder. We have the key codes there. We just left the stickers off. It's, that's one thing. But to say roll it back, that means that they probably didn't buy it. That means that it's probably a pirated copy, and that's not good practice. I mean, that's illegal practice. Just don't do that as a tech.
Well, and it makes about as much sense. And actually, it was our Gary here in the chat room points out that makes about as much sense as you going into their dealership or their service shop, having an issue, and their solution is just to roll your odometer back.
Right.
Literally makes as much sense.
Yeah.
So that brings the point is, I mean, you need to know who you're going to have work done, and you need to do your research. Obviously, these people are not very honest, and I hate when that happens. It's sad.
Right. And so this may be, I may be getting a new client out of this, which is fine. And they're not. This tech company doesn't do just one of these shops. They do the Pacific Northwest shops. So they probably work on 6 to 7 shops. And if they're I'm going to hire somebody. If I land this one, I'm going to hire somebody and say, guess what? This is Joe. He's my new tech. Because I can't believe it. And then we'll start off with, let's do an audit. We're going to do a computer audit, because it may suck, and it may really sting, because you may be running illegal versions of Office, you may be running illegal versions of Windows, and you may have felt like you got a great deal of, well, how in the world did you get a brand new computer for $299? Probably because $300 of it was stolen.
It came from a chop shop.
Exactly.
Language they understand. Well, and I think that's actually that's the first step. It's you got a little issue here. How about if we do we just do a little bit of an audit here, and for agree on some fee that you actually just, as a third party, audit what they have and make a recommendation, and actually, as part of that report, explain the situation, because um, you know it it would be it's going to cost money to get things legal, but if they get caught, things could get very, very expensive very, very quickly, and lawyers are getting involved, and it's not a happy thing. So
Right. Well, maybe what originally made me think of this was that I remember that they have a like a cafe inside their shop, kind of, and basically they have two machines that are running Ubuntu, and they're just in a kiosk type mode, or they're running as a guest. Came across a site this week from OMG Ubuntu that says how to easily create an Ubuntu kiosk computer. So if you have a client who just needs a kiosk, and you don't want to buy a Windows license because there's no need to buy maybe there may not be a need to buy a Windows license. Maybe you just need to just set up a kiosk. This came out in July, so this is a little old, but it tells you how to build a kiosk computer, and and so that may be, you may need that for a business client, or you may need that for maybe it's just for your, every time your crazy uncle comes over for the holidays, he jumps on the computer and always is infecting it. Here you go, crazy uncle, you get the kiosk. So I want to throw that out there. I know that we have some users who use Linux and some users who don't, but this would be there used to be a great way to do Windows. There was Windows had a tool many years ago that I can't remember what it was, but you could lock down all the settings, and then when a user goes in, that's it, steady state.
Steady state. It was Windows XP, and they did away with it when they went to Vista, and it was a horrible, terrible mistake. And their explanation was that all those same settings could be made in Vista, which of course they could. One little check mark here at a time, and steady state was fantastic. So it was a major disappointment when it went away. But typical of Microsoft is that when they have a really good product that it typically is free, they do away with it.
Yeah, that's right. I remember Steady State. I used it with my my sister-in-law had some kids, and they kept thrashing her computer, and so we threw Steady State on there, and every time they thrashed it, she just rebooted.
And it was awesome because the computer I set up for my kids, I mean, they were very little. All it had was a start button, and I think you click start button, and there was like just music and documents, and I think one folder had games and whatever kind of stuff that they usually did. And well, there was a lot of consternation involved with that because my son felt that he should have more access to things as a 5-year-old, but and there's some hilarious stories about him managing to find his own workarounds. So it wasn't perfect in and of itself. It did require some degree of adult supervision, but still, Steady State was absolutely fabulous because whatever you did boom, you hit reboot and bam, logged in that account, and yeah, like you said, all those settings, they were returned, and everything that was broken was unbroken, and it was wonderful.
Yep. But now you have to pay for licenses unless you just steal them. So,
different world.
Different world. So I just thought I came across this, and I thought this would be a great way to something to bring out to our.
Maybe that is their solution to Garage. Just install like a Steady State, and then every time they just reboot it whenever they get that message, and it's like
there you go.
It just sends them back to a time when everybody was happy.
Perfect. Steady State is the activation workaround. You heard it. You heard it here first. We are a trendsetter in Geeksters. We are going to tell Microsoft no. And no means no. We will not activate your device. We will just put Steady State on it.
That's right. And we're giving you a definger.
That's right. Microsoft activation, you are defunct.
I'm trying to give Tim a break. You don't have to really do it. I can just do this.
Oh God!
I downloaded it last week. It's still up there on the Google Play Store.
It's the it's the unbootables, right? Is it the unbootables? Soundboard?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, right. That's if you need if you need any actual actually, Gary, you can take that to court with you when you appeal that. Just get the Unbootables soundboard, and there's a recording of my laugh. You can actually listen to it any time you want, which I think is a horrible thing. I don't know why anybody would want that, but there it is. I think we lost Martin. Did Martin go away?
No, I'm here.
Oh, really? Because your video's gone
Oh
too.
wait, I clicked the wrong button.
Oh,
There we go. Sorry about that. I clicked the. Anyways, I'm sorry.
okay. Steady state.
No, that would be me.
No, Gary mentioned something called deep freeze, and is good for that. And I have used deep freeze a long time ago, and I don't. You gotta remind me, Gary. Has deep freeze been around for a long time? It is a. I've used it in the school system before. It's the same thing like steady state, but it can be used in a corporate environment. So you can create an image, use and then freeze it, and then that way you just reboot the computers. And so I've seen it in computer labs and stuff like that. The problem that a lot of these have in some kind of a corporate environment, and you can, I'm assuming they've gotten a lot better with these. That what you can do is you can so that you freeze it, then the people make mistakes, you just reboot the computer, it's back to its thing. It's same thing as steady state. What you can do though is that because it's from Windows updates, so what you need to do is you have to unfreeze, then do updates, and then refreeze. And I think in a sorry, hold on. And then I think in a corporate environment, you can do that amongst multiple computers, as for corporate environment. So what I'm laughing for is Gary in the chat room said, "Not again, man. Just deleted something. Bloody hell. Stop interrupting Mitch."
What?
Well, Gary's blaming you for deleting something because you interrupted me.
Oh, so it's my fault.
I think, Mitch, I think you're going to Australia, and you're going to stand next to Gary and let him know that it's your fault.
I'm sorry. I'm shutting up for a second anyway.
So there'll be a note in the whatever they call that, notes in the notes about deep freeze in it, but they do have a free 30-day trial and stuff like that. So check that out if you're looking for a Windows replacement for steady state.
Yeah, I think that's one of those that was around even back then. There were a number of programs like that, and I want to say that Deep Freeze was one of them.
I used to call Kamado. I can't remember what it was called. Kamado something. But I had problems with it.
I just remember Deep Freeze because I remember the bear. The logo of Deep Freeze is a bear, and I remember it had to be around for a long time.
But that was the thing about steady state, was it just worked so well. Why, and it was free. It was like the price was right, and so I remember tinkering. It was like they all seemed to kind of solve problems that the steady state seemed to just very naturally do so well. And it's typical. I mean, it would work too well. Microsoft had to make it go away because I think they have standards they have to maintain under of which they have to maintain. They can't exceed expectations.
Yeah, it looks like the company who owns Deep Freeze is Pharonics, Faronics, and they were founded in '96 in Vancouver, BC. So that would be about right because I started working in schools here in Oregon 2006 or so. So yeah, it had been around quite a while. But that's all I have to bring to the show tonight, guys.
Yeah, I was messing around with a bunch of little things, but nothing exciting. I think we've covered far more interesting things than what I did last week. So
yeah, and we still are kind of up in the air about OLF. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Maybe. Yeah, it's okay. We'll see. Maybe next week you'll hear that we all got a chance to get together again.
Let's call my wife and talk to her. I can probably go.
We'll get her on the show. We'll wait.
Well, she's not going to do that. Boxer. She's the one boxer.
Okay, we'll box her. We'll box her. Everybody box her. Mitch's wife. Say, can Mitch come out and play, please?
That's what it's going to be sad. I mean, I had such a great time meeting you guys last year. It was one of the highlights of my life.
I thought it was okay.
Thanks.
And you are cold. Cold. I got dressed up and shaved and put on cologne.
Of course,
Normally I don't do that. That's why we do the show like this. Is because you can't. We don't. There's no smell-o-vision.
No, I enjoy myself immensely. I'd love to get back. It's just a scheduling issue. So I don't know. I love to shoot out there. We'll see what happens. I mean, anyway, OLF's a great event though. It's a fantastic thing.
Yeah. So if you guys are in the area, Ohio Linux Fest, it's like $5. Gary says he's swimming over, so he'll be there. $5, Ohio Convention Center in Columbus, Ohio, something like that. Anyway, so we'll be there. If you can't make that one, then join us at NELF. That's in Boston with some chowder. That's coming up at some point. I mean, these are all Linux fests. I don't know of any Windows fests. I don't know if they have. I mean, they have stuff, but and then we've got Northeast Linux Fest, which is up by me, up in just south of Vancouver, British Columbia. We can go over and say hi to the Bear Share guys, or not Bear Share, but the Freeze guys, Deep Freeze. So, if you like Gary would love to send us an email, go ahead and send it on over, Mitch. Where's the best place they can send us an email?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, they can send us.
This is why I pay you, Mitch. I give you money every day to do this. That's not true. I don't give Mitch any money.
They can send us an email at send us an email at geeksters@podnuts.com, or send us. Well, I guess you really don't send a voicemail. Well, I guess you do. Leave us a voicemail at 7076-PODNUT, which is 707-676-3688. Please do it now.
Right now. Just stop the show. We're going to stop soon. You can send us one. Tim, if you want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I'm Tim Bauermeister on the Google+.
Bam. There it is, short and sweet. Martin at obandocomputing.com, Obando on Google+. Yeah, just love to hear from you guys. Again, check out the other PodNuts show, Android App Addicts, Health Nuts. Every Sunday there's a call-in show. This time, this place. Well, not this time. It's at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Jeff Hallish, Chris Crothers. Is it Chris Crothers?
Mm-hmm.
Chris Crothers and Marvin from MBS Systems. Join the show. You can call in live. You can talk with them. You can ask them questions. Bring a question. Save up a question that maybe you want to ask us. Save it for them. Give them a shout. Well, you can ask both of us. You can compare notes, but give them a call. There's Call That Girl. There's Nightwise. Man, there's lots of stuff you can learn over on PodNuts. So podnuts.com. If you're going to buy anything, podnuts.com/Amazon. No extra cost to you guys. It just a little bit comes back to help support the PodNuts network, make things possible for us. We volunteer our time on Tuesday night here to come to you, and we love every minute of it. I'm not asking you to pay us. I'm just give a little back. So guys, thanks for joining us again this Tuesday. We'll have more stories from OLF, travel stories. Who knows? This year maybe I'll get yelled at again by people from the airlines. So that was always fun. No broken phone this year though, so I'm going with my regular phone. So, your lawyers didn't get it. Which one do you want, Gary? Podnuts.com/Amazon? No, I don't know. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. Have a great fiscal week, and don't forget to be gruntled. Talk to you later.
Good night.
So Mitch I'm assuming he hit stop record. So now we can talk frankly. Not really, because it still stays on the YouTube stream. But man, these headphones hurt my ears after a while. All right, guys, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us again, guys. Thanks for coming out and watching us. I need to get my son to band, and you guys have got it's late over there for you guys.
Yeah, we'll go eat some dinner.
Yeah, go eat some dinner, guys. Thanks for hanging out, and if I can see you guys this week, let me know. If not, I understand. But I'll definitely be seeing you in person again next week.
Yeah, fellas. All right. Well, see. We'll see when you see you.
Yep.
Cross your fingers, you might see me.
All right. I hope so. I hope so. And thanks to everybody again for coming out. Aussie Gary, CT Tech Guy, Tim A. I don't know who that is. Sage was in the chat room for a while. Thanks, guys, for coming out and hanging out with us. I enjoy having you guys in the chat room, just talking and conversing with us. It's a lot of fun. Send us some emails too. We didn't get any emails this week, so. All right. Thanks, guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast. We'll cut it off here. So thanks, guys, again.